So thank you so much for this interview, Jen. Like I mentioned, I just learned so much about your work, and it was great to hear about how building this trail and these restoration areas is helping to preserve the Cocopah culture.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the opportunity to share this work. We really love what we do, and it's always nice to have the chance to share it with the broader community. Um, and yeah, so I was glad when you reached out, and I had a chance to look at your website as well, the Mongabay. There's just so many great stories on there of great environmental work that's being done all over the world. So yeah, I was just curious like how you got into that.
That's a good question, actually. I've always been just really fascinated by environmental reporting, and I was actually a double major in biology as well as media and communications, and it was really writing for my college's newspaper that inspired me. But yeah, I've written quite a few articles for Mongabay, including several about the conservation projects happening on Native American tribal nations. And I remember my very first one, it was back in 2021. It was about the Recovering America's Wildlife Act and how that could help give these tribes grants and how much tribes are doing to protect wildlife and to protect the environment, and despite the fact that they're often underfunded.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see the work that you've done with tribes specifically. Is there anything in particular that, you enjoy about getting to cover tribal work specifically?
Oh, definitely. I just love talking to people all across the US, and I know even that I've talked to tribal member in Canada about their work because they're just so passionate about what they do. And it really is amazing how much tribes have done to protect so many different endangered species, to especially I know one of the another article that I wrote is about tribes' role in adapting to climate change. So yeah, it's I just love talking to people all across the world for my articles. I know I've spoken to people not just for environmental stories, but other stories as well from all different countries.
Hmm. Yeah, that must
And
be really neat to get to hear all of those perspectives. And yeah, like I shared, that's something that I really enjoy in this work too. Like I think apart from just the environmental side of it and the plants and the wildlife, it's really special getting to work in a tribal community and have that indigenous knowledge and perspective and way of life included in the projects. It makes everything that we're doing that much more special and significant. So, yeah, I was um, wondering how you felt about that. And do you think there's any, or what's kind of like the biggest challenge that you have in reporting on these types of stories?
that's a good question. I uh it's for me it's always difficult to narrow it down to like focusing on one tribe or one project happening in a tribe because I know there's so much going on at all these different tribes, and I know I think the US Fish and Wildlife Service, they recently released the names of the tribes that got the tribal wildlife grants, and I was just fascinated by reading about all the different projects happening on tribal lands. And I was fascinated so much by so many things you said during the interview. Like you said that uh, for this 1 mile trail and for this labyrinth and meditation space, that you you had a bunch of conversations with elders within the Cocopah tribe, and you had a bunch of informal conversations, and you mentioned that that just helps so much with the design and just in general a plan for these restoration sites, especially on the northern Cocopah reservation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those conversations are so important, and I love that they're a part of the work that we do. For one, it's really helpful to hear what people actually want to see in these sites, what they're kind of missing from the ways that things are, what plants they want to have access to, what kind of spaces they want to be able to enjoy and have to gather. And um, that really helps with the designs that we're putting together and helps to steer how the project moves forward. But also, I think it helps so much just as a motivator because you realize how these projects are going to impact people and what kind of a special place that you can put together that is not only for the benefit of wildlife and restoring the natural habitat, but also is an important place for people to have. And yeah, that's something that I really enjoyed being a part of and getting to have uh, those conversations with tribal members, tribal elders, and um, just have that be such a part of the process.
Yeah, and I just love the way that you describe the final keepers of the river trail and just your experience walking on it, and also just what it means to members of the tribe, both elders and the younger generation, about being able to reconnect with the river and with all these plants that you help to bring back, like the willow.
Mhm. Yeah, that was a major goal of the project is to bring back those native plants that the tribal community to have access to, and also just have that place to reconnect with the river because like we talked about, not only do the invasive vegetation um, you know disturb the natural environment and the plant life, but it also prevents access to the river and even visual sight. And so that project has been really special. And earlier this year, it was great to be able to share it with the community at Earth Day and kind of explain the name, Final Keepers of the River, and just honor the Cocopah tribe as being the last Native American tribe on the river. Um, and so I'm glad that we have that space now and are working to maintain it and expand it in other areas.
And I know we wrapped up our conversation talking about future projects. You had mentioned that there's even possibly work that a restoration area that you want to do in the Western Cocopah tri or the Western Cocopah Reservation, which you had mentioned had low water levels. So I'm just really excited for the future of this project. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we're just excited because we recently got notice that the Cocopah tribe is receiving one of the tribal wildlife grants that you mentioned, and that funding will be used to support a water conveyance to bring water to that area to irrigate it and sustain the plant life that will be part of a almost 400-acre project site on Cocopah West. That's going to be a huge project. We're really excited for it. It's going to bring back hundreds of acres of mesquite, cottonwood, and willow. And I think especially for the Cocopah West, that's such a huge effort because, like you said, we have those diminishing water levels due to the damming from the last century. So that's going to be amazing to bring back that habitat and those natural and cultural resources to the tribe. So yeah, we're excited for that and be looking forward to sharing more as that project develops.
Thank you so much for the interview and for this conversation, Jen. I just learned so much about your work, and yeah, like I said, I'm just so excited for the future of these projects on the Cocopah Reservation. And it's also really interesting about how how you returned to Yuma after you'd mentioned that like you went to college far away and then returned. It's just sounds like really incredible work that you're doing. Anything else that you want to add to this conversation?
No, I don't think so. Just I thank you also for this opportunity to share our work at Mongabay, and thank you for all the work that you do to share tribal environmental protection efforts. It's really important to share that with the world, and yeah, I've seen a lot of great works on that site, and just thank you for your efforts in being a part of this.
Yeah, I just love writing these articles because, like I mentioned, they just highlight such incredible and fascinating work. So thank you so much for this interview.